Mount Okepamo, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pokonjre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday, from Monday to Sunday, it's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, foreign affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. Tonight is Friday night debate. My name is Dennis Jar, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In tonight's debate, we're going to talk about the following on current issues. You may not know that there was a U.S.-Africa summit that took place in June in Angola, even before the one that just took place in the U.S., where President Boakai and 4 other African nations presidents visited President Trump at the White House. President Boakai has been welcomed back home as the beautiful English king of Africa. We're going to talk about that. Also, President Boakai, we tend to forget that he started what we call, he started a program, something that has been long coming. And that is, the president has he launched the National Healing and Unity Program. I don't want this to slip under the radar because we need healing. Also, lawmakers proposed budget line for each electoral district. The 73 electoral districts each should have a budget line in our national budget. We're going to debate that tonight, but before we even get into our introduction, I want you to sit tight and enjoy the new song that is trending on the blog. That is President Boakai, the beautiful king of Africa.
Our prime president, beautiful English king of Africa. We salute JMP, our prime president, beautiful English king of Africa.
Let me welcome to the show the chum's mom and the lawyer's daughter, Glendy Jane Jr. Glendy, welcome to the show.
Oh, hello, Dennis. It's good to be here. Hello, everybody.
Let me also welcome FOL political analyst, Mr. Mohammed Sharif, a product of Waplo Institute, all the way from River G, Kalipo. Welcome, sir.
It's good to be here, Dennis. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Let me welcome the new progressive commentator, Dr. Clarence R. Pearson. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. It's a pleasure being on the show tonight. Hi to all my fellow panelists and to our viewers and listeners out there. Looking forward to a good show, Dennis.
Thank you. Let me welcome Pastor Salif. That's a sustainable development coach right here. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. It's good to be here tonight. It's Friday night debate. Wherever you are, please tune in. Social media land, please tune in. We're going to have a great show tonight.
Talking about great show, let me welcome the CDC sympathizer, Mr. Elvis Morris. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jai. That song remind me of Brenda Fassie, my black president. So that one.
And to let you know that Judy is not going away. Let me welcome Mr. Jimmy Eastmans, who is joining us from the nation's capital, the man whose name is synonymous to diplomacy when it comes to Liberia. Welcome, Jimmy.
It's a pleasure being here, Dennis. I look forward to an interesting conversation.
Let me welcome all our followers, our viewers from across the globe. This is Focus on Liberia Friday Night Debate. And if you don't already know, we now have the beautiful king, English king of Africa.
From Africa. Like that girl she's speaking or what kind of dollar?
What's wrong with that?
No, I just asking. I know the dollar. I want asking that
You
girl.
say it in a way that is demeaning. What is it? What is it, Gribble, or what kind of dialect?
Oh, Mr. Ja, I just asked the question. I know the dollar in there. I don't want to know that girl. It's trying to tell it to me.
I've seen it Donald Trump do.
Yeah. All right. Let me welcome all of you. We're going to get to President Boakai's visit, President Boakai's visit to the White House, and the what other term has compliment. Some say is an ignorant statement. Some say is condescending. All kinds of ways being describing President Boakai's English as beautiful English, and asking him, where did you learn to speak English? Well, before that meeting, Dr. Pearson, there was another meeting of African leaders, the U.S.-Africa Summit in Angola in June. I mean, why is that under the radar? I mean, and this is getting more attention. Do you know?
It's interesting though. I myself trying to think through that, and like I was like, what a meaning? Because if we having a U.S. Africa business summit with all of the top U.S. officials in Africa responsible for both making those decisions how to invest in Africa, while Liberia wasn't there to begin with. And that conference brought up, Dennis, from the 22nd to the 25th, $22.5 billion, Dennis. And the key infrastructure development area was in energy, infrastructure for housing, and for tourism. And those are all critical areas that Liberia lacking. One thing that stood up there, I leave this point for now, then is one point was in Angola, they are going to be electrifying 30 million homes. No, not 30 million homes, but 30 million population with stable electricity, when Liberia just have 5.3 million people. So where are we missing this? I couldn't wrap my head around it, going to the warehouse, and then they didn't go for the real business summit.
Mr. Sherry, we're going to get to the summit at the White House, but there was this U.S.-Africa summit in Angola, and a lot of cash being raised, and that's business meeting, and we're going to contrast that later on with what we saw at the White House. We're supposed to be also trade talks, but we didn't see the people that would represent that sector. What's your take, and why is it? And this happened since June. I think June 22nd to the 25th or 27th, like that, right?
25th, yeah.
Yeah, 25th. So, but it's under the radar. And Liberia was not there. And this is U.S., Africa, U.S. What's your take? Did you follow it, and what went down, if you can share?
Yeah, just a little bit. But who wants to go to Luanda? Everyone wants to come to Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, and California. You know, every Liberian government official today wants to come to the United States for any summit that the United States can host. Not, in Luanda, not in Maputo, Mozambique, not in, somewhere in the Lilongwe, Malawi, not those places, not those places. But our people want to travel here, so that is very underneath the radar. And by the way, that's a summit that started under, I believe, was during the Clinton administration back in 1997. The U.S. Africa Business Summit started back in 1997. So it's it has a good bit of history. My problem is, the same African leaders will go ahead and sit there with their Western suits and tie and discuss all these different things without putting any meat on the bones, without any follow-ups and different things of that nature. So when you talk about, for example, in the Southern African region, you talk about the Lobito corridor, where that links Mozambique and the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Lobito, the port of Lobito in Angola. This is a hub will be a hub for exportation of minerals, vital minerals out of the country. My problem with that is, why are you exporting these? Why are you making plans to export these minerals out of Africa, out of your own continent, out of your own country? Why aren't we discussing this as African Union to make sure that the African Union is in control? African leaders, the African countries are in control of their own minerals. Lastly, Dennis, one of the things that I heard, during the the U.S. summit, the summit with President Trump, is Mohamed Ghazouani of Mauritania, who talked about everything from mines to fish, right? We have fish, we have this and that and the other. And meanwhile, he's not in ECOWAS. So why aren't you going to your brothers and sisters, discussing that with them, so that you guys can form a viable union intended to enrich the African people? Now they are all coming in now because Donald Trump's priority is transactional, as we all say. Business is business. I need your minerals. I don't need anything from you. I need your minerals. So all these guys are coming in here telling President Trump how much minerals they have. Back in time, a couple of years ago, they weren't saying that. Everyone was coming in saying, we need the U.S. We want the U.S. to support us. We are poor. We are this and that and the other. Now they're coming in, surrendering their minerals, surrendering their resources, if you will, to the president, who is a merchant, who is a business merchant, a businessman. So they're all coming in, with the exception of few leaders. The president of Gabon, he really spoke well. I mean, he was not on the path of surrender. I mean, you heard the president of Senegal talk about everything from mineral to golf course. Mr. President, we will build a golf course where you can go, play golf. I mean, let's be serious.
And that's the young man. I don't know what everything, but for those of you, let me bring you up to speed. Say from June 22 to 25, more than 2,700 U.S. and African public and private sector leaders gathered for the 17th U.S. Africa Business Summit hosted by the Corporate Council on Africa and the President of Angola. During the summit, more than $2.5 billion in new deals and commitment between U.S. and African partners were announced, reinforcing United States prioritization of trade over aid. And some of the people from the U.S. who attended: Moussa Bolo, Senior Advisor for Africa; Thomas Hardy, Acting Director, U.S. Trade and Development Agency; Constance Hamilton, Assistant U.S. Trade Representative for Africa; Connor Coleman, the Head of Investment and Chief of Staff, U.S. International Development Finance Corporation; Tamara Maxwell, Senior Vice President for Small Business Export-Import Bank of the United States, etc. Glennie, the meeting at the White House also, according to President Boakai, is for commercial purposes, right? For trade. But obviously, I don't know who represented that besides President Trump. Who else did you see really would tell you that this is actually for business? I saw the immigration guy.
So, but who else were we expecting to be there? Trump called
the vice president. No, I mean from the White, the vice president of America. I expected to see maybe the owner Gafuan. I was expecting, people that are responsible when it comes to trade, when it comes to exports, when it comes to those kind of things that we're talking about. But instead, it was just President Trump. I'm contrasting that with the U.S. Africa Summit is business summit, so we are business people.
Absolutely. But you have to also recognize, and hello everybody, it's good to be here. You also have to recognize who are we talking about? Donald Trump. Who likes the focus to be on him? He called the meeting. So no one else was going to be there to overshadow him. He was going to be the judge, the juror, everything for the meeting. I didn't expect to see anybody. The people that he wanted to be there on his side. Like I had a huge problem with even the sitting arrangement, that we had our African leaders back turned to the press people, and all you could see was Donald Trump and his people facing the camera. So I think it was a setup, a meeting set up that he wanted to be the focus. And I think also don't forget that this meeting is in direct contrast to what the Chinese are doing or to what other European countries are doing. Donald Trump wanted an opportunity to show off and see how he can build a relationship with some African countries. So I didn't expect to see anybody else there except for Trump, and he showed up. I don't know where. So I didn't expect anybody else, Dennis.
All
The
right,
meeting
let
was
me
a
go.
Trump meeting.
Yeah, Trump meeting. I expecting other Trump people. All right, Mohammed, please go on with hosting the show.
So Jimmy, what I think Dennis was coming to you there. So
Yeah.
what is your feedback on what you heard? Of course, let's go to the summit in Africa and how that underreported that is as compared to 5 African leaders coming to the White House.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know that the U.S. has announced a pivot from traditional and aid models to commercial diplomacy. So this emphasized this commitment. Right now, they're only looking for bilateral agreements that will offer, mutual commercial benefits for both sides. If the deals that were struck were between U.S. companies and these African countries, emphasize this point. You have serious hydroelectric power being supported by Rizi Holding Company with the Ansanza Group of Rwanda. We see hydroelectric link developments in Angola. All these were $100 million projects that they want to support. So it's a leeway for American companies. Now, what we need to analyze is one thing to increase development and capability, but we need the market. So there has also to be, how will they, profit from these endeavors? How will they expand the economy? How will they have a higher return of investment? Those are the true questions. And notably, Liberia was absent because Liberia has to be prepared to go into $100 million mutual agreements where both parties benefit. And I think this is how we're going to have to change our posture from that of a aid-seeking country to a country that's looking to foster commercial and economic exchanges. That has not been our posture past. We've been severely crippled by only accepting aid. But now we have to put on the table how we can provide commercial benefits to other people. I think this is good for us. This is what we needed a long time ago. Aid further crippled us, making us dependent. But now that we have to come to the table and bring something to the table, I think that will change our posture, and I think it's a step in the right direction.
Thank you, Pastor S.T. Sirleaf. So it would take an American president. Is that what I'm hearing? So it would take an American president for our leaders to do what we all on this show have been advocating. Most of us have been advocating forever, for eternity. Okay, stop collecting money. Stop with the hats in hand, mentality. You come over here, it's like, give me. Like my former principal used to say, give me. What do you have to offer, right? When you sit around this table, what do you have to offer? I think that is what we're supposed to do all along, isn't it? That's what we're supposed to do all along. So what is your take? If we can link these two with the the summit in Southern Africa, with the one at the White House.
Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. I think let me begin with the summit in Angola. I don't know if anybody will be surprised why JMB was not at that summit. If you look back just a few months ago, let me say last year, right after the inauguration, there was another African summit going on. What did JMB do? His first travel after inauguration, he went to Ghana. Why the Ghanaian president himself was attending that summit, and the press got wind of it, and they lied. Oh, he went to meet it. The Ghanaian president you claim you're going to visit himself is attending African summit that you should have been at as your first official act. He skipped that and he was in Ghana. So I'm not surprised at anything. Now, let me give you a few stats from the African summit, and then I will conclude on that. Let me give you quick stats on that. In fact, the U.S. State Department, they call that summit record. This is their title on the U.S. State Department page. It's called Record-Breaking U.S. Africa Business Summit Use $2.5 billion in deals and commitments. And then I can break down some of those. When it comes to hydro, U.S. energy sector hydro signed an agreement with Angola government to develop $1.5 billion private transmission line connecting hydropower sites in Angola to critical mineral mines in the DRC. Okay, it's about 1,500 kilometer transmission. 1.5 billion. That's what these countries are benefiting. Then you come to Ethiopia. In that same summit, Ethiopia Investment Holdings signed a memorandum of understanding with U.S. international finance partners to invest more than 200 million in the development of luxury hotels, branded residences, and related tourism infrastructure in Ethiopia. You come down to Rwanda. I don't know how it's called. Ruzizi the third holding power company signed an invitation to partner with U.S.-based Angola Electoral Corporation, paving the way for a 10% equity stake in 760 million hydropower spending Rwanda and DRC. And I can go. Even Sierra Leone got a piece of the pie. I don't have time. I can go. And then you come to the same Angola again. The U.S. technology firm Saba Station in Angola Telecom signed a $170 million investment deal. So just imagine, even Sierra Leone, everybody got a piece of this pie. What was our president doing? Sitting in front of Donald Trump, pretending to speak English, with somebody treating him with such condescension.
Take it easy. Glady is going to come after you.
Yeah, with such pure condescension. The people of Angola that got 1.5 billion, they got 200 million, they got 170 million. The people didn't print t-shirts. They're not singing song, dancing in the street. What do we do in Liberia? A man who the only thing that came out of the summit in the White House was that Donald Trump praised him. In the class of how many people, the least student in the class praise your English. In the class of American president, Donald Trump praise your English, that's failure. And that's why people are in the street printing t-shirts and dancing, because for them, that is success. While Angola, Sierra Leone, Rwanda, all these other African countries are benefiting from $2.5 billion investment. The reason we dancing in the street is because our president spoke English. Can you imagine the buffoonery? Can you imagine how low it is for Liberians? How does the rest of Africa look at us? That, go to Liberia, the people are dancing because their president spoke English. When other people are signing hundreds of millions of dollar deals. It's a shame.
Yeah. Elvis, the English will eat. I mean, come on. What are we doing? What are we doing? You know, so the president is not even telling these people, okay, let's not do this. Okay, you know, don't dance. Let's not do this, because this is real. Okay, so tell me, in many words, take as many time as you can, that English will eat.
Look, thank you, and great to be on the show. Let me just say this, President Weah can speak both English and he can speak French. So he beat President Boakai on that one.
And
But I
Italian
mean,
too.
yeah, and Italian too. So in all seriousness, speaking a language, and I think that the one thing that confused President Trump is that most Liberians, once we learn English formally, we tend to have less of an accent, as compared to other African nations. So I think that's kind of what threw him off because our president didn't have such a thick accent that he couldn't really understand. So I think he was impressed by that. But let me say this, right? You had the days of Tubman with the open door policy. I don't see President Boycott formulating something like that that's going to invite investment. Now we saw what happened with ultimately with companies taking advantage of us with concessions. But I think if he can formulate and try to you know you know try to put in place some protection that will keep us away from being exploited when it comes to concession and have an open door policy, part two, where we can invite countries and companies that can come into our country with meaningful investments. That's a blueprint that he can follow. Bring a new open door policy. I don't think President Boyka was invited to this meeting based on business opportunities. I think there were other things that they wanted to talk to him about, and he used this opportunity as a means to bring him to the United States. But also, I think that the president was woefully unprepared. I mean, when you say we have minerals, even if you're going off the top of your head, name out five, primary minerals: the iron ore, the lumber, the timber, the rubber, all of those, those things that we're well known for. But you just said we have minerals. You didn't come with a nice little spreadsheet. You can look at your sheet, tell the president what you have, what opportunities are there. The United States is interested, but he didn't come with an understanding that he wanted to sell the country. Not sell the country in that sense, but sell our opportunities to the United States. So I think he was unprepared. But speaking English is fine. I mean, it's our primary language. Most of us, once we come here, we go to school and we learn. Our accent tend to fade little by little, and the white man can understand us more so than the other African countries who might have a thicker accent. But I think the president needs to formulate or investment plan. I know we already have the investment, commission in Liberia, but something that's going to attract foreign countries and foreign companies to the country. I think he was around during Tubman time. He saw what Tubman did. Saw some of the things that Tubman did. He was less, open door. But at least the president, if he wants to get investment, he has to come with all the smart people he has around him with a new open door policy 2.0. These are all the resources we have. This is what we want. If you're coming in, giving you some kind of sweetheart deal, but at the same time, I take a pause when people say, "Oh, we're selling ourselves because we're inviting people to take our resources." Look, life is not a game. If you have something, you have to use it to get what you need or what you want. We have the resources. If we need money to build roads, what are we going to do? We're going to sell the resources. So I don't get this idea that our resources are so precious and we should hold on to it by all means and not sell it. We have to sell it. The reason people go to Angola has a lot of oil. Most nations that have oil are almost instantaneously rich. So Angola has billions of dollars that they even lend Portugal like 26 or 36 billion dollars as a loan. An African country, lending to a European country, their former colonial, masters. So Angola, you can compare with Liberia. The reality is people want to do business in Angola. A lot of oil there, a lot of petroleum, business is done in Angola. So you see a lot of these big companies like Chevron and other, shell companies going to Angola to do business. We're not on that level. We still have raw minerals like timber and lumber and iron ore. Other countries are kind of moving away from that. That's like old world stuff. New world stuff is more, oil, technology, and other things that Liberia is not even close to. So I think our president needs to spend the next year or so really coming up with a deep and thoughtful business plan that's going to invite a lot of countries into foreign nations and foreign direct investment into the country. And I think he can do it. There have a lot of people around him that have the capacity to do.
Thank you. So, Dr. Pearson, the Gabon. Okay, last night I spent a lot of time talking about heaping praises on the new president of Gabon, Blaise Clotre Olengema, who delivered a brilliant address, and I was proven correct because the Gabonese walk away from that summit, on the sidelines. They signed an agreement. Okay, I'm looking at it right here. It says $500 million. What did we take home? We took good English home. So that's what the Liberian people are eating right now. Good English. And that's what they're dancing. They're dancing at RRA. They're dancing in the streets for good English. And Gabon, meanwhile, the guy went there and told President Trump, he said, we are wealthy. It's okay to say that. He said, we are wealthy. He said, we need partnership. And if you're not going to come and partner with us, he said it. I heard it. If you're not going to come in to partner with us, others will come in and partner with us. We are wealthy. That's how an African leader should speak. Confidence, with their heads up high, you know, with the pride of the great leaders of our continent. You know, the great leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, you know, Gamal Abdel Nasser, and those guys, you know, speaking that way. Ahmed Sékou Touré speaking this way with confidence. Even Tubman spoke with confidence. Torbert with these confidence, you know. So I'll let you take that. What do you make of, you know, your people? Look, they're dancing.
Gabon is wealthy in oil, though. We got to give them that. That's a fact.
Sorry, sir. Why we keep going to this same failure mentality? They do well trophy. Oh, Angola is rich in oil. Gabon, is that what stopped your president from being confident? Sharif is talking about confidence, and you here talking about the rich in oil.
What's your relying iron ore and rubber that you're relying that you're really wealthy? Or is what's really going on in the market right now? People are not coming to your country to buy rubber.
We're talking about the way you speak to another.
Yeah, that's bravado. Bravado means nothing if you don't have the tangible resources to back up what you're saying.
Even if you have only rubber, talk to the men with confidence that we have rubber. That's what we're talking about. Not a bigger intro. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Did the Gabon president call him? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's all houseboy. What are we talking here?
Jamal, come back. Because Pastor Salif, you're right. Even when the president said, "Oh man, where did you learn to speak English? Where did you?"
He couldn't even answer.
He said, when he said, "Where did you learn to speak English?" He said, "Yes, sir."
He said, "Yes, sir." It was Trump that said in Liberia.
Yes, sir. It was Trump that said, "Oh, did you go in Liberia?" So Trump directed that whole question.
Exactly.
He kept saying, "Yes, sir," the whole time.
What are we defending?
Anyway, Doc, so what do you make of this? These people are dancing for good English. Dancing. Do your people call you? You don't send them money and say, give us some good English?
Send us some good English.
Is that why your people eat? Dr. Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. Sharif. You see, it is safe to say that those are some of the reasons why some of us sit on these platforms after long days of work and after doing other things, and we have to spend some time having this conversation, because it surprises me to think that running a country, people will think that it is like running a home, you know, or like running a shop or a little business. Running a country is a complicated and complex deal. Imagine paying over 5 to 6 people who's supposed to serve as your advisors. And you're hearing that your key ally, that President Boakai called a long-time friend, is pulling out USAID, which is cutting deep within your budget and putting you into deficit when your own revenue generation is also in deficit. Your first quarter is in deficit. Your second quarter revenue generation is also going to project deficit. And your advisors are not pointing you to the American embassy and the in Liberia, near Liberia, and near Monrovia, as we call it, and the communique coming from within the State Department that is telling you that we're no longer interested in giving you free money. What we're interested in right now is to ensure that we have to trade something for something. And now you are there and we're paying you taxpayers' money. President Boakai does not have 24 eyes or 50 eyes around his head. He has advisors who's supposed to be on top of the issues that are happening globally and to be able to advise the president. You have a business, U.S.-Africa business summit coming up in Luanda, Angola, where 12 African leaders are pivoting to that, because that's the new trend. Now we're talking business, no longer aid. Everyone is feeling the sting of they use a drawdown. So everybody running to this business forum. Our guys are in Monrovia fighting over speakership, fighting over who will get some part in budget for county level when the budget cannot even reach $1 billion, and they are fighting about who stole rice and where the money for 29,000 black arrests are hidden. Someone chasing somebody for gracious taxes, and they're doing these things, and the other leaders and other sound guys who understand what global leadership is, what South-South relationship is going to do in connection. They're going to Angola, Sir Leaf. They go to Angola. And listen, I want to just highlight one thing. Everything Angola stood for in this Gone Summit just 2 weeks ago, just a week ago, is what Liberia is lagging behind on. They went there for energy, discussion on energy. They went there to discuss infrastructure. They went there to discuss tourism. They went there to discuss health. They wanted to discuss those critical things that Liberia needs to attract a sensible development were the things that were being discussed. We were not present. One of my panelists said, we were waiting for invitation from America, pushed by HPX, to tell you, say, if you won't go to see President Donald Trump, sign our HPSD that you've been keeping for 3 years. And if you can't sign it, you can't get on the plane. And if you sign it, we want to make sure that you don't bypass us. We announce it. Even if you don't want to announce it, we announce it to your people so you can be shamed. And so you can be shamed not to come by and say you didn't sign it. So we announce it while you're on your way there. And listen, one project in Angola benefited, and I put it in the chat for the viewers to see, 760 million to build a hydro plant. 750 million. And not only that, in addition to that, for connectivity, distribution of that power, they received $1.5 billion to connect that power plant in Angola to critical mines, critical mines that are happening in DR Congo. So you see the industrial connection. And not only that, that electricity is supposed to power 30 million people, give stable electricity to 30 million people when Liberia population is just 5 million people. Look at the disparity. Why were we waiting for Good English Trophy to be announced by BBC, the Queen of English language, to say, yes, Liberia now achieved the Queen's language? We could have been getting electricity that will open the doors to the industrialization for Liberia. After we've just lost the impact, the MCC compact project for about 5 million that's supposed to help with electricity, we miss out on it, and then we miss out on this other dish out of money. And to come back to what? I don't blame President Boakai. I blame the people he got around him who are advising him. They should be called to question. In fact, if I ever have my will, the Senate or the House of Representatives will cite these advisors and let them tell the Liberian people what advice are they giving our president. Right. Let us hear from them. Right. I will stop there.
Dr. Pearson, we know you have a PhD, but don't play on our intelligence. You can't in no way compare Liberia to Angola. Angola is filthy rich when it comes to oil. Those people is in the hundreds of billions. How can you compare Liberia to Angola?
And so what?
Yeah, when you saying so what are you saying? So we're nowhere there. Some countries are just blessed with natural resources that is more valuable than others. You can compare Liberia with Saudi Arabia and the kind of oil they got and the kind of money they get from the oil.
That is why we should have been at the summit. So right. The little that we have, we could show. Dr. Pearson,
I want to add something. Let me add
something. Dr. Pearson, you left out 170 million for digital infrastructure. Angola got 170 million also from that summit for digital infrastructure.
Yeah, gentlemen, hold on. So let me go to Glendy. Glendy, so the debate right now is, Liberia should not be boasting, right? This is a trend that I'm hearing. We shouldn't be boasting because we're poor.
Yes.
Angola can boast. Gabon can boast because they have oil. But we have riches. What are we doing? So have we compared how much the Gabonese officials are being paid as compared to how much Liberian officials are being paid? We know that Liberian officials are one of the most highest paid on the continent. So does that make sense, Glendy? Please help us out. What is going on here? Can we not boast too?
So let me just say that I don't share any of the views that was expressed earlier. I shared none of them. Absolutely none. I also want to say when we're becoming so alarmed by just seeing 3 minutes of what President Boakai spoke of when we were not even privy to what additional details were discussed in the back door. So what they showed us, what the Trump government wanted us to see was an introduction. I'm sure every one of us here know we can't be that naive to think that 3 minutes was it. I'm sure you know there were other discussions in the back. I get that. I don't know what was discussed, but I'm not going to be alarmed from 3 minutes and try to classify President Boakai as being this, that, and the other. No. What would have been the difference if Liberia was not invited? Will we even be here making noise? Will we even be talking, intellectualizing the visit? We will not be. The fact that Liberia was invited, for me, it's something. That is something compared to the president could have been home and not invited to any program. For whatever it's worth, the least we can say right now, the least that we think of the visit, we can say that Liberia now is a topic in every household in America.
For what?
And
So
let me finish.
For what?
Let me finish, please. Let me finish. It's a topic. People getting to know. People will
For
research
English?
Liberia. People. It doesn't matter. You and I don't share the same view. Absolutely not.
No.
I'm
we can't.
extremely proud of President Boakai. I'm extremely proud of the way he presented himself. I'm extremely proud of what he said and how he spoke. We do not share the same thing. And if you think that is a minute thing, that's on you. I think President Boakai did well. I think he did excellent. If we think that he did nothing, that's my opinion. Your opinion, we don't share the same opinion.
Glendy,
No,
let me
we
put
cannot
another question
do
to you, Glendy. Let me put another question. Put it this way again. So, do you not have a problem with the way our leader, one of our leaders, because you know those of us who are here now, we have two leaders out there, right? Do you not have a problem with the way our Liberian president was addressed, right? Oh, where do you? Just such a beautiful. Where do you learn to speak English?
So let me tell you why.
What I mean, Glendy. So, is it not okay for you, Glendy, to speak the way, you know, in this kind of tone, which is eloquent? Is it not okay for you to be able to speak this way? Is it a surprise to anybody that, oh, Glendy is, you know, eloquent? Glendy can, you know, speak.
That's a testament to Trump's ignorance, not Boakai's fault.
So listen, Mr. Salif. No one should be surprised of who Donald Trump is. I heard some people saying, "Oh, like you were saying, you saw Elvis is saying he's ignorant. He's not. You think Donald Trump didn't have foreign advisors who have told him? No, I wouldn't say that.
He is ignorant.
I wouldn't say he's ignorant.
When you send for a president from Africa, you should know everything about that president.
Let her finish, please.
No, we don't have the same views here tonight. Absolutely not. And anybody who is naive to think that President Trump does not know about Liberia or that Liberia speaks English, they're dreaming. Because anyone that's coming to your country, they're going to inform you. He has foreign advisors that's going to tell him, Glenda Juniors is coming. She looks this way. She speaks this way.
Right.
You think he didn't know?
Right.
Trump is a realist. He sits at the table. Whatever you tell him, he's going to hear it. But whatever he wants to say is what he's going to say. And which one of us don't know that? That we are alarmed by what he said. Let me tell you, I did not have a problem with what he said to Boakai. Because I get that every day. I was even called a waitress at one of our corporate jobs. A waitress. So I get that every day. It's like, where do you get your English from? How do you speak good English? Did you go to school here? What is that you're eating? What do I smell? I get that every day. What I had the problem with was the end of the conversation when President Trump addressed the other leaders and saying that they did not speak English, knowing fully well that some people at that table spoke English and some people spoke French. So for me, the visit, I don't know the intricate details of what we're going to get today, tomorrow, or the other. what everyone is being alarmed about, I am not alarmed by it. And this is Liberian people. What you may think may be insignificant, Liberians make it significant. We are an alarming group of people. We act on impulse. For me, I don't think they should have been celebrating today. I don't
Thank
think
you.
they should have even made a song.
Thank
I don't
you.
think, but that's Liberian people. They
Now
make
you're
noise
talking,
out of
Glendy.
nothing. And so that's it. So what do I do about it? Stop them from tomorrow. They will still be dancing.
Educate
The
them.
dancer, right? So are you gonna talk?
Yeah,
Yeah, very good.
Jimmy, he should stop. He should stop these people from dancing this way. Jimmy,
No.
please
You
tell
know,
me. Jimmy.
I know. Some,
Please, Jimmy, please
many-
agree. Please agree with me, Jimmy. I know you're going to agree with me. Please
stop her from dancing. I don't think that
that.
it's significant to dance about, but they wanted a tune. But you know, I know some of you are too young to know. There's a cultural thing we used to have in Liberia called we are thing. You probably don't never know that what they call we are thing. That was
It
a
depends on what year you're talking about.
after the coup, after 1980. That's when it started. In other words, a culture of complacency was developing. It is okay. It's like that because now that we are think. It doesn't have to be the standard. Okay, we don't have to know all the book, but now that is we are think. So it's all right. You see, after so many years, that culture of we are thing is not going to do it. It does not going to cut it. We're going to have to improve. Just like what Dr. Pearson was saying, we have to go in there prepared. First of all, to be prepared doesn't take an overnight briefing or some research that you did 1 week ago. It takes a whole system of preparedness, preparing the students, preparing the industries and all that, so that when we go to these meetings, we have something to offer. But what we have been used to is it's okay if it's not all that great. It is okay if we're not developing our institutions. It's okay if we're not producing brilliant students to take over tomorrow. It's okay. No, it's not okay. And this is going to happen over and over. Every day I'm challenged by other people asking me, okay, these people did bad. What have you guys accomplished since then? We have to reflect inside, and if there's something we need to improve, we have to admit it and begin to work on it to improve ourselves. We could do much better, but are we doing the requisite? Besides somebody like Muhammad Sharif, who has gone to the U.S. and prepared himself and made himself, giving himself expertise, the majority of our people don't have that opportunity. So we have to provide that for them so that we can make a better presentation when things like this come up. But until we do that, we're going to be in this culture of mediocrity.
So you will blame the advisors for this. So you have a foreign minister, you have all these people, right? I mean, look, so if you have a foreign minister who's on their game, they will research the environment. They will research the participants. They will research the hosts. They will let you know you're going into this environment. This is how you're going to address this issue. So you're going to get, this is what you're going to get. Donald Trump is open book. So, you know, the materials are already out there. So all you need to do, sit there, you know, and do a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes of research, and let the president know this is coming at you. If this comes, this is how you're going to address this. I have a problem with the president's response to, with his response to the president of the United States. You know, he didn't even offer one. He said, yes, sir. Oh, where? So you speak so beautifully. Where did you go to school? Yes, sir. Oh, you went to school in Liberia? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We don't, you know, I don't know. Look, I'm sitting here trying to figure out why don't why? Okay, why?
Yeah, please,
Can I
y'all
get
don't make
30
fun of our
seconds?
president.
Sherry,
No,
can I
no, no,
get
no.
30 seconds?
Don't make fun of our president.
Can
I
I
think
get
that's
30
the
seconds, Sherry?
That was
A
that was
president
that was
sitting
you
instead
serious
of
about
another
this?
president.
no,
Yeah,
no,
can
no.
I?
Let me say this. Let me
No,
say this.
Elvis, can I get
1
30
second,
seconds?
Dr. Pierce, 1 second, please, sir. So respectfully, right? I'm a young man, so usually if I call an older person sir, it seems as a sign of respect, right? But even in position of
Boakai
authority,
and
right?
Trump, they are both in their 70s, so
Hold
it's not
on,
one
Mr.
young person talking
Pastor
about
Salif. That's the point that I'm making, right? Sometimes people say it inadvertently. You might be talking to somebody who might be in a subservient position and you are. And you might say, no, sir. You might tell somebody, like I said, in a courtroom, a judge might call a defendant who is lowly compared to the authority of the judge. Oh, sir, do you have your documents or whatever the case may be? It's just in that moment of being polite. Somebody says sir to you doesn't mean that they're your slave or they're your servant. It just means that they're being polite. They're showing you some sort of respect. Donald Trump could have called President Boakai sir. It doesn't mean that Liberia now is a bigger country than the United States.
he will
So
never
let's not demean our president. I think it's disrespectful of the office of the
see
presidency of
Boakai
the
because
Republic of
it's
Sherry,
Liberia.
can I get 30 seconds?
specific
Okay,
sir.
I'll come to Dr. Pearson. Elvis, what is disrespectful for Liberians saying no? We don't agree with this kind of, how you carry yourself right here. We elected. One of the characteristics when we vote, when people vote for president, uh, in a lot of places around the world, I think Liberia as well, a president must exude confidence. A president must be that president that is standing up for everybody, the weak, the strong. So you go somewhere, right? You must exude confidence. No, you're not going
He
to say,
he did that when he gave an eloquent speech
all right,
and spoke well in front of Donald Trump. He did that.
okay,
He was a
Dr.
timid old
Pearson, go
man.
ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
let me say this. The reason why I've been quiet a little bit since Evans pushed back on they need Jack respond to my concern that the advisors did not do good for Liberia in allowing our presence at the U.S. Africa Business Summit, where country like Angola benefited 760 million for hydro plant and another 1.5 billion dollars to do connectivity between the industrial mines and the hydro. Elvis, that knee-jerk reaction is the same thing that got us where we are, and President Boakai couldn't present anything to the United States of a president, because you fail to see that opportunities only work for those who are prepared. I care less that Angola population is 36 million and mine population is 5.4 million. I care less that Angola have oil that they are tapping into and have oil blocks that I have never discovered commercial value in. I care less. I care less that Angola has diamond and I got diamonds. I care less that they got gold and I got gold. I care less. I'm not concerned about what they have. I'm concerned about what do I have to sell. That's my what do I have to sell? Now, if you were my advisor, I'll fire you tonight, and the announcement will be on the air by tomorrow morning. Evans has been dismissed for administrative reasons, because Evans should not tell me
Right now.
Evans should not tell me I missed out on the business summit in Angola because Angola has more oil and more resources than I have. Evans should be telling me, Mr. President, this is what you have, and this is what you can sell. So that when Angola is gathering hydro funding for 30 million people, because the population is 36 million people, 30 million people, I at least will cut my own 5 million from there. And Angola will get 25 million. I believe in that with my 30 million because I'm an old friend, long-time friend of America. America, hear me sitting here, I'm your long-time friend. You cannot give 30 million population people stable electricity when I read back door, phone that were you 200 years ago, and you cannot give me at least 5 million of my population stable electricity. What are we saying here? Look
Okay, Dr. Pearson, let me respond to you quickly.
No, look at
Let
Faye.
me respond to you quickly, please. You talked a lot.
Look at Faye from Senegal. Faye said, Mr. President, I'm glad I was invited. I got two things to sell to you. Two things to sell to you. I have a land that has been appropriated, already lying down there, waiting for you to invest in when it comes to AI.
Dr.
And
Pearson, we hear you. We heard you, sir.
He
Let me
said
just
second.
respond to
No,
you.
no, you
Hold
listen to me.
on.
No, you listen. He said second. I got another thing to sell to you. He said, as I speak to you, Mr. President, we have oil that was discovered in our backyard by your own American companies. We want to industrialize the oil. You have 13 oil black. Why didn't you mention that there that you are not doing anything about it? You have iron ore. You're shipping iron ore, raw iron ore out of your country. You are not industrializing iron ore. Why didn't you say something about industrializing your iron ore? You have rubber. Since 1940 something, you've been taking rubber from Liberia to build America. Why you couldn't say we want factory to manufacture rubber material in our country? You telling me say we not let Angola. This is what killing Liberia. Then you
Okay, let me respond, please. Let me respond, please.
So I was
Look,
told, let me just say this. Someone said, you guys live in the United States of America. Emmanuel Williams said, you guys live in the United States of America. And when police pull you over, how do you address them? I'll tell you, Emmanuel, I have been pulled over. I was the officer alleged that I was speeding, and I think I crossed the red light, whatever. And I said, no, I did not. He said, yes, you did. I said, okay, I'll see you in court. And I went to court. He was in court, and I won. So don't tell me that we're all sitting here doing that. I choose to, like Elvis said, I can choose to say to a 20-year-old, yes, sir. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. I do that a lot. Not a lot, but I do that sometimes. Just as a mark of respect. It's a mark of respect. But the context in which we're speaking right here is our president did not exude confidence. And in the context of Gabon, for example, the guy came in, he said, we are wealthy. We're not, he said, we asked the United States for partnership. If you don't partner, if you're not going to come in, if you don't partner with us, others will partner with us. Gabon. We have had, somebody said fire, somebody mentioned Firestone. We have Firestone for how many years now? How many years? We have all these diamond mines. So Elvis.
Mr. Sterling, let me come in, please. Just give me the time, please.
Yes.
Dr. Pearson, I think you're conflicting what I said, right? On my first submission, I said that President Boakai was not prepared. I made that point clear. I said that he mentioned that we have minerals without specifying what kind of minerals we have, and he didn't go that, with a specific goal in mind what he wanted to get. I criticized him on that point of it. On the issue of Angola, you have to understand what Angola is. It's like one of the top three or so producing nation in Africa. Angola is very, very wealthy. It's like a fat elephant that even European companies want to go there to find any excuse just to go in that market. You're not the same. We're not the same as Angola when it comes to market potential. So companies and countries will give Angola anything they want because they want to tap into their oil resources. If you think that rubber and iron ore is on the same level as having oil, you're wrong. Companies are not flocking to Liberia because they want our iron ore like that. That's why you got one company like ArcelorMittal. You don't have 10 companies looking there for iron ore and competing against each other. No, but I guarantee you, if you have oil, the Shells, the Chevron, the BP, they will all be flocking to Liberia trying to compete to get some of your oil. So Angola is not on the same pedestal as we. We are way behind when it comes to natural resources. We have all world natural resources. Things like rubber, people can go to Brazil and sit down there. Brazil got way more rubber. Many other countries in the region have a lot of rubber. Things like iron ore, a lot of countries like Guinea has even more iron ore than we do. So when you're talking about all world resources, that's not going to put you on the same pedestal as a country that's producing oil. That's the point that I'm making. Angola can attract billions or hundreds of billions of dollars in investment because they have oil. That's why Dubai and Saudi Arabia and all these other countries that have oil. Hold on 1 second, please. Let me finish. All these other countries that produce oil, they tend to be, all the other countries that produce oil, they tend to be instantaneously rich because oil is very valuable and well sought after. Nobody going to your country looking for your iron ore and your rubber. They're not flocking to Liberia for that. You know that. So that's the point I'm making. I criticize the president when it came to his preparedness, but at the same token, don't come in and try to say like we're on the same level as Angola. If Angola is getting $700 million, Liberia should be getting a similar amount. It's not the same.
Saying that.
You can't compare those two
I'm saying
things.
they were not even on the table.
Okay.
They were not even on the table.
Yeah, because you have nothing that they really want. You don't have the oil that people want to come to your country to invest in. What you got in Liberia that people want to buy with? What you got in Liberia that people want? They want your rubber. They want your iron ore. They don't want it. What you do? What you do? They don't want your iron ore. They don't want your rubber. What you do?
Thank you, Elvis. Thank you, gentlemen. I will go to Jimmy and then Pastor Sirleaf, and then we're going to wrap up on this topic. Jimmy, do you have any final points on this topic?
Yes. I hear the back and forth between Dr. Pearson and Elvis, and I think whatever you have, whatever resources you have to make the most of it. I can tell you about nations that have far less resources than we do, but they are doing exceedingly well. Off the top of my head, I think about Japan, I think about Singapore. So resources, yes, resources helps if you're endowed with it, but there's ingenuity, the human ability to create wealth.
Botswana.
Yeah, that is something else that we can work on. And so I do not subscribe to say we don't have resources. We have to do well whatever we have, and I can and comparing myself to wealthy countries. There's one book that was written, "The Curse of Resources." They said because we have resources, we just sit back and do not innovate because we're depending on resources coming out of the ground. So it can be a blessing and it can be a curse at the same time. But what has to happen in our beloved nation? We have to prepare our youth to take over. We are not capacity building. And what we see around today, looking at the budget allocation every year, only to pay fabulous salaries, not to develop education, not to develop health care system, not to increase the private sector yield. This is never going to get us out of the hole we are in. So why not focus on those things? If we have serious leaders, we have to be working on the things that will increase our production in years to come. But so long as we're still not working, we can have 1,000 summits. We will not be ready to do anything because we have not done the essential things that will get us there.
Thank you. Jimmy, can you admit Russell is in the back?
Yes.
All right. Thanks. Pastor Shirley.
Thank you. Let me read something. Maybe Elvis might agree with this, since Elvis' entire go-to is that Liberia is not on par with Angola and Gabon. The same summit in Angola, Sierra Leone, maybe Sierra Leone is richer than Angola, or maybe they're richer than Gabon. Sierra Leone also got a piece of the pie. CEC Africa Sierra Leone Limited signed a memorandum of understanding to develop West Africa's first, and I repeat, first U.S. source LNG. LNG is liquefied natural gas terminal in partnership with AG&P and backed by U.S. International Development Finance Corporation. The terminal will provide 108 megawatt non-power project in Sierra Leone and enable affordable energy for industrial and household use in Sierra Leone. So I don't understand what Elvis is talking, that Liberia could not go to Angola and achieve anything because Angola is too rich, Gabon is too rich. Then how did Sierra Leone get what they got? To build the first liquefied natural gas terminal in Africa. Are they richer than that? We're telling you that we missed an opportunity, and you here to, it's the same thing we saw. That's why Lone Star has never gone anywhere. Lone Star only won their World Trophy. Lone Star will play any team, they beat them 4-0. They come home. Other countries, once you get 4-0, they fire the coach. What will Liberia say? Oh, but the men that did well. That same thing again, Liberia 4-0. You know how many they get the other people? Why do we praise ourselves in failure? We miss an
You're being a
opportunity.
hypocrite, Pastor
Give
Salif.
me a break. We miss an opportunity, and your defense is Angola is too rich, so we can't get anything. Gabon is too rich. We miss an opportunity. That's what I'm telling you. JMB sat in front of Donald Trump as a timid old man who did not know what to say. Since Boakai became president, how many other presidents? I will wait for you that he has called yes, sir. Since he became president.
Let me tell you this, right?
Hold on. He been to Ghana, he been to Nigeria, he been other places. How many presidents have Boakai ever said yes, sir, to? Since he's a respectful old man, he was a timid old man sitting in front of Trump who did not know what to say, brought down the country. People printing t-shirts with Boakai and Trump face on it, dancing in the street like we achieved something. The Nigerians who were not invited, you know what the Nigerian minister said? He said, we're not giving you anything. You're not sending any deportee to our country. They were confident. They said that. What did JMB say? When they interviewed him in his own words, oh, you know, they told us about deportation, but, you know, we got to go home and think about it. Think about what?
Pastor, let me ask you a question, right?
Yes.
Playing devil's advocate, right? Boakai has been, when you look at him, he usually has that respectful posture.
I agree, but how many other presidents
I think he does that to everybody.
Mr. Sully, let me say this, right? We Liberian will get Bihar for nothing. We get Bihar for nothing. What you want President Boakai to go do that? Be a check? You still remain poor economically.
No,
you still remain poor militarily. You remain far beyond the United States. Even if you go there and cost Donald Trump mind part, you still remain poor. So it doesn't matter what you're trying to project. The reality. No. Let me speak. You have your turn. Let me speak. No. You are being a hypocrite.
Hold on. Let me finish.
You're taking my time.
You're being a hypocrite. I'll tell you a hypocrisy. Let me get my turn after you.
If that you being a hypocrite because you have
I'll tell you what you're being a hypocrite on. You'll find out in a short minute.
You have not told me any one president since Boakai became president that he also said yes, sir, to. If there is a record of Boakai doing it, I will accept it that he's been respectful. He has not done it for any other president since he became president. He only did that in the White House. So it was because of fear, not because he's respectful. While he didn't call other presidents, yes, sir. Now you here talking about, oh, nobody said Boakai should go insult Trump. The Sheriff said it. Dr. Pearson said it. Speak with confidence. Hey, this is where Liberia is. Based on our long-standing friendship, I think we have these resources that you can tap into. You can come and we can partner. Instead of sitting there and saying, yes, sir, come and do what with our mineral. It was a missed opportunity. And people came back instead of people saying, hey, he did not show up properly for the country. People in t-shirt and dancing in the street. Like we achieved something when Angola, them are signing 1.5 billion, 750 million, 200 million, 160. So don't we have internet need in Liberia? They're signing internet infrastructure, 170 million. And you hear saying that because they are rich. Sierra Leone, from that same African summit, they came back with the first liquefied natural gas station in the whole of Africa.
He not said it 5 times, Mr. Shelley. Let me come in, please.
Let me introduce.
What are we talking? Why are you praising yourself in failure?
Mr. Shelley, you gotta let me come in. I know Russell will come in quickly.
Elvis, I'll come to you. Let me introduce Anthony Russell Jr., who just joined us. Welcome, Anthony.
All right, gentlemen, it's a pleasure being here, and thanks for the introduction. I'm excited to be a part of the conversation today.
I want to ask you, are you related to President Alfred F. Russell? He was the 10th president of Liberia.
I hope I'm not, because if I am,
Why do you say that?
I would love to criticize him while I bro.
He was. I think he had the shortest presidential term 1 year.
Mr. Sherry, let me respond to Pastor Shelley, please. Pastor Shelley, let me tell you why you're being a hypocrite.
Okay.
I remember vividly. I was on a show with you that day when President Boakai and his delegate went to Beijing to have that meeting, and they had a memorandum of understanding with the Chinese Communist Party, and it came back. There were all the things that China wanted to invest in Liberia. You were lambasting the government that MOU mean nothing. Well, you go come and you bring MOU that now you're telling us that Sierra Leone had an MOU, so you're bragging about it in our face.
Show me the
MOU to develop gas processing plant or whatever. You were criticizing President Boakai government about MOUs. Why are you not criticizing Sierra Leone about getting MOU right now?
Evans, there's a difference there.
No. Please, let me speak. There's no difference. You guys want to criticize this president unfairly. I've been a critic of President Boakai even before he became president. I'm a CDC sympathizer. No, please, let me finish. Guys, you got to be respectful. I've been respectful so far.
Let him finish.
I've been a critic of this president on this platform, and I remain a critic. But I respect the office of the presidency of the Republic of Liberia. If you just want to come in and bash the president unfairly, you're gonna have some pushback. When you got one tongue, when the president gets something, when you got one tongue when the president gets something, you switch your tongue when another country gets the same thing. That's being hypocritical. Memorandum of understanding, we understand, does not really equate to anything. It's just a mutual agreement between two countries. So you're trying to beat your chest about Sierra Leone getting some memorandum of understanding with no tangible value behind it, and you're trying to compare it to Liberia. It's unfair. The president went there. He gave an eloquent speech. He told President Trump that we have minerals. I wish he was more prepared and specify the minerals and what we can do with it. But he said those exact things that you're saying. We have minerals. This is how you can help us. This is opportunities to invest in. He said those things and he spoke well. That's why all the other leaders, President Trump, commended him. I'm not saying that he's supposed to go there and be a Zelensky and try to be embarrassed and manipulate, and humiliated on the world stage. He didn't do that. So please spare us your unrelenting criticism of this president unfairly. When President Boakai is doing something wrong, I'll be the first to call him out. You guys know that.
The nigga going like this. He's just renting.
I'm not renting. You guys are just posturing. What do you want him to do? To be Jackie Chan in the White House, to be Rambo in the White House? What do you want him to do?
Yeah, wait now. This is educational.
Hold on. Dr. Pearson, hold on 1 second. So when he's on the floor, I think that you guys are not giving him time.
Elvis, I have all the time.
No, these guys want to talk over me, and they want to be critical of the president unfairly, Mr. Sully. I'm going to implore you, Mr. Sully, for giving me the time. But I think of all the people on the panel, you know me, I don't take nonsense for anybody. Even President Weah, when he did wrong, President Boakai, if he does wrong, I will say it. Yeah, but I don't like people being treated unfairly. I hate it. It boils my blood. The president didn't do anything wrong over there. You yourself have said it, Mr. Sully. I'm sure. Hold on, man. My man, please. If you want me to respect you, please show me the respect. Mr. Sharif, you said it yourself. I'm sure you're in a position of authority of your job. People who are subordinate to you, I'm sure you're called and sir. Sometimes it's inadvertent. Sometimes you don't even think about it. You're just being respectful in that moment. You said. So if he says that, what does that mean? That he's slave? That he's groveling to the United States president? What are we saying here? Are we not human beings? Do we not have a similar human experience? Come on, man.
Mr. Russell, now let him get his input. I beg you. Then we can.
Just give me 30 seconds. I beg you.
30 seconds for you. 30 seconds for Esther Sharif, and then we'll go to Russell.
Elvis, this is one of the best platforms in the entire Republic of Liberia, headed by the best in the business since 1822. You don't come here and just rent because you got emotions to share. Give the facts. The fact is that the MOU broadcast signed in China for $3 million for oil refinery is not the same thing we're discussing here. There were every legal and potential decision maker available at that summit to make those business decisions. Sierra Leone did not only sign a partnership MOU. You know who was pressing there to push for the funding? I will read it to you. CEC Africa and AGMP. They had, besides the two companies, they had the American government had its own International Development Finance Corporation present. International Finance Corporation present to seal the deal. That's not your Boakai MOU. Your Boakai MOU that don't see day. That's not it. Give people good information here. This is not sentiment. And let me tell
you guys are hypocrite and want to criticize for our reason.
Let me tell you this. Inferiority complex must not be in your generation. Inferiority complex must not be in your generation. Even in this United States, when you stand up to a white person, when you stand up to a typical American-born kid, hold your hair up high and speak with confidence.
Thank you.
Speak with confidence.
What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying.
The man spoke more eloquently and more confident than any other president. That's why you got complimented for. What are you talking about?
Thank you.
What are you talking about? Y'all let him beat your chest with nothing behind it. If he speak with confidence, what are you getting that brother show for it? With all the confidence he would speak with.
I go to Russell.
Come on, man.
Import.
I think President Boakai spoke exactly how Liberia is today. I mean, what does Liberia have to show for speaking with confidence at US to do what? To give us what? To give the US what? Because when you look at the speech that Boakai gave, I mean, the little dialogue that he told President Trump, where he got committed by his English speaking skills, he told him that he has natural. I mean, we have natural resources, and he didn't. If you listen to all the other countries that said that they have natural resources, they listed the resources that they had. In particular, they weren't talking about surveys. They were talking about we have these resources and we know that we are the best in the region. Come and explore. Let's talk. They weren't talking about come and survey. Meanwhile, the Chinese people are already on their phase 2 survey. And you got addressed about that statement about you conducting a comprehensive survey, and you said that you never said you said anything about comprehensive survey. You only said you talk about 2 counties. No. So the point about you guys are making about this issue, I think that the more we focus on it, we centralize our thoughts on it. We're trying to get away from the bigger issue, right?
I agree.
We can address people as sir. We can address people as your excellence, but in certain setting that you're in, you have to know how to carry yourself. I'm not saying that the president didn't know how to carry himself, but it was just his response out of maybe, let's say, respect. And we all can sit here. We know that our president, we know that he is a very soft-spoken person. Trump is not. Other president might not be soft-spoken. They might tell you yes, and they'll be done with it. If somebody say yes, sir, or yes, it doesn't change anything, right? But in the same breath that Trump gave a compliment that our Liberian people are running around with here and putting t-shirt on us, we doing all kinds of theatrics about this compliment. He also said that he speaks better English than other countries at that same table. And he was addressing other African leaders as well. So why should we take that as a compliment when that is degrading other African leaders? Is being very disrespectful to other African leaders. You see, Liberian people were very quick to forget. This is the same president that called all African nations what? He addressed us as wolves. Then he comes back and said that, where did you learn how to speak English? Is that something that we should bluff about? Now we get it. We understand that is good publicity. I mean, that is publicity. It's not good, but it is publicity, right? And now we are trying to figure out how to capitalize off of it. Okay. I don't think that the president went to his. I don't think that he was briefed because he was invited, right? He didn't invite himself. He was invited. So I don't think that he was briefed thoroughly about the details of this invite, whether by the U.S. or his cabinet or the foreign ministry. Because if you look at what it is that he is saying, it's like when they asked him about the issue about the 5 African countries that were selected for the deportees. He seemed like it was not something that was on the agenda. Meanwhile, you have presses in America saying that was put out prior to the meeting that they had. So you should be he should have been aware of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I will have to agree with my brother Elvis. I don't think that Liberia has, compared to other countries, and let's be honest, we know what Liberia is. We know who we are. We can be boastful, we can stand up, we can knock our chest like gorilla. But Liberia right now, the resources that this government is looking for, Liberia does not have it to go and try to negotiate anything that will bring in $500, $600, $1 billion deal. They don't have it. That's why China is the one that's surveying it. If Liberia wanted to survey that stuff, they would have done. They would have went to the United States begging a long time ago. And this meeting, the purpose of this meeting was Trump said that it was for us to shift from aid to trade. Good. Now, what is Liberia's leverage to say that U.S. should come and trade with us?
Thank you. Thank you. Pastor Sully, you have 30 seconds, and then we'll move on from this topic.
Thank you. I know. Russell wants us to move on. I agree. We got to go to other topics. The question is, what we were not in the meeting, like Glendy said before she left, but what came out of the meeting is what the media show, and we have seen it. There was no discussion on trade. The main reason for that meeting at the White House, number one, it was just a political posturing and just publicity stunt. That's what Trump was doing. At the end of the meeting, he sat behind the resolute desk and got these 5 African presidents standing behind him like high school children that they took to the White House to take picture with the president. Ever you shaking your head, he did it to Juventus. He did it to the football team too. Tim Weah came out of that meeting and he was disgusted. He said it was weird. I watched his interview. Trump does that all the time to show political posturing. It was just a photo op. He brought these people there for that reason. And our president, who should represent us ably, I don't have problem with JMB respecting people. All I want, give me the record. How many other presidents he has said yes, sir, to since he became president? And if you don't have that record, then he was a timid old man in the presence of Trump. If you tell me, oh, when he went to Gabon or Nigeria, he called the other president sir too, I will rest my case. But there's no record that since JMB became president, he has addressed any other president as sir, apart from Trump. So that means he was timid. His mouth was shaking, just like Mr. Sharif said. When Trump even asked him where you went to school, he didn't even know how to answer. He said, yes, sir. Finally, let me say, and we here, in the States, in my school, I was the only black man. On my job, I'm the only black man. I know how these people speak to us condescendingly. They tell you that, oh, do you even have buildings in Africa? I tell them, no, we still live on the trees. Do you people even have cars in Africa? I tell them, oh, no, we're still walking. In the 21st century, they even tell me too, say your English is different, you speak better English. What do you expect? I'm from an English country. So these people say this thing condescendingly.
Pastor Celia, you the Gola warrior. We're supposed to elect you president so you can go put Donald Trump in place.
Let me
That's what we're supposed to do.
You want us to interrupt you. Okay? Trump was very condescending, just like Anthony said. He was condescending because the other 4 African presidents that were there, they were not speaking English. They spoke through interpreter. Doesn't he know that Liberia's official language is English? And you sit there and you had nothing to articulate. Meanwhile, you skipped the summit in Angola. You could not even send a representative there. And then you want to tell me it's because Angola is too rich, Gabon is too rich. That's why we couldn't get anything. It's nonsense.
So if you
it's
just
too rich. These guys still thinking that in 1960. This is 2025. You got to upgrade your brain. How you think about the world?
No, you said that.
Who want your rotting rubber and rotting iron? Ooh, you think that what people want in these days? They don't want that nonsense. The people looking for oil. They're looking for diamond. Things that you don't have in abundance. They don't want what you have. That's the reality. Get over it.
Hold on, let me do station identification, please.
I don't care how they need oil, they still need the steel to build a skyscraper.
Okay.
Let me do my station identification. Viewers, if you're just joining us, this is a Friday night debate here on Focus on Liberia. And so tonight we are talking about several issues, issues relating to our president's visit to the White House, the U.S. Africa Business Summit in Angola. Next topic after the break, Jimmy.
Hello and welcome to.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the next topic will be the president's campaign on reconciliation. The president has been making some serious effort recently to reconcile Liberia in view of our bitter historic past.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jar.
Welcome back, viewers. This is Friday Night Debate. I'm sitting in for Dennis Jar, the best host since the fall of the Mali Empire. Dennis just happened to drop off, abruptly, and I'm an accidental host today. So I hope I'm doing you proud, right? But so let's go to the next topic, which is the president's campaign on reconciliation, national reconciliation and healing. The president started that with the reburial of, President Doe. For those who believe that, that was the late president's body. So he started with the reburial of President Doe. The burial of Doe coincided with the burial of his wife. So it was a joint occasion. And the president went on to speak to or meet with President Tolbert's family, as well as the families of the 13 former government officials executed by firing squad in April 1980. And so launching this kind of reconciliation we will all agree is a good thing. But is this enough? I guess my question is this enough? Because when you look at contemporary Liberian history, 1980 is not the beginning, right? But when you look at contemporary history, you go from 79 to 1980, where, atrocities were committed, excesses were committed. And then you go to 83, maybe 81, Thomas Wesley and others were executed. 83, the Nimba raid. 84, the invasion of the University of Liberia campus. 85, the aborted revolution of Thomas Kuwankwa and others. 85, also a questionable, and most people believe, a fraudulent election. 86, the installation of President Doe against the backdrop of calls for, a repeat of the election, fraud, and political prisoners were in jail. Ellen Johnson, Sirleaf, and others. 89, Grady Allison and others were arrested. 89 also, you have the beginning of the Civil War. And as we say in Liberia, all hell broke loose. And so that the president is doing this is commendable. But what I look at, and I would like your views on this, is where do we start with this? Is this enough? Or, as the president promised in his campaign speech, his campaign speeches was that he was going to seek justice, and he moved in that direction to set up a war and economic crime tribunal. So, Jimmy, is this enough for us to, rely on to say this is going to bring us together? So you speak to a few families of the leaders who were executed, President Tolbert and his associates, the leader who assassinated President Tolbert, Doe and his family, right? And then what about everyone else? What about the rest of us? What about me? What about you? What about all of us, who lost family members during the war and all the excesses that occur?
I'm going to commend the president just for recognizing first that this is something that needs to be addressed. To bring the nation together, we must first acknowledge what was transpired and suffering inflicted by what happened, and and providing a formal number to those people who were affected. But I also believe in a scientific and comprehensive approach to such things. It shouldn't be just this one day thing. So to address your question, no, this should be a whole system of events you want to create so that it will bring about the healing that is being sought here. I think there's much more we to do to address the ills of the carnage that took place. We have to go to communities. We have to see how best we can bring about healing in each one of our many communities. But again, this is a beginning, but it should be a process that will take place maybe over the years. It shouldn't just this one time. It's not enough. And as we assign sociologists and people who have dealt in trauma and wars and reconciliation, we assign them the research to find how best we can go through this system, this process, to bring about the healing. But a one-day thing may be a beginning. Acknowledging what the ills are, but we got a ways to go. And I think to see more follow up on this would be a pleasure for me to see more reconciliation, acts of reconciliation taking place for all those who were affected.
I apologize. And while we're going through this last topic now, if there are we taking any calls? If there are any callers and stuff like that?
No, I don't think he set it up for that.
He didn't set it up for that. Okay. All right. So, Anthony Russell, what do you think of the president's move at national reconciliation and healing? The country has never healed, regardless of what we can talk about the democracy and all we want. We can talk about, as the president said, we're peaceful. We've been having peaceful election. However, people are still broken. Hearts are still broken. The feeling is still raw. The evidence is, you can watch the TRC testimonies and stuff like that and see how heavy, people's hearts are heavy. Some of the stuff that happened, during the war and before the war that people talk about. So what do you think that the president should be doing now besides these visits?
That's a great question. And I think, we talked about this topic has been in the news or in our minds for a minute now. So I think it's a great step. And if done correctly, I will commend the president on this, right? And I think it was yesterday where they made a great progress. They introduced a roadmap. So the roadmap is going to map out how they're actually going to go out and carry out these things, whether it's by hiring investigators, like you were mentioning, psychologists, right? People who are privately investigating so that they can get the right information. And within this roadmap, they also talked about how they're not just going after people that held guns, right? They're going after people that put, money, that signed documentations, that benefited economically and politically throughout this war. And that's one thing that I've really been hardcore on, because I do believe that the way how we Liberian people see criminals, we only see criminals as the people that exist within our neighborhoods, right? We don't see criminals as people that are in coat suits. Those are the people that we have to be very, very afraid of, and we have to criticize them, because the people in the coat suits are the people that really, really mess this country up worse than we can even imagine, right? The people, the kids that are holding guns, those are just collaterals. They're just damages, even though they're inflicted, they're hurt, they're damaged. But the people that actually benefited from this war, we can see them today with political power. We can see them today with economical power. So I feel like those are the people that he should also go after once this roadmap is set up. But there is this issue. The U.S. ambassador just stated that he doesn't think that we have the resources and the money to establish this War Economic and Crime Court. Why? Because he was somebody that we were trying to use to ask the U.S. for aid so that they can help us to establish our court. That was something that he really put pressure on the U.S. for. And unfortunately, I think that he said that he was resigning, or he probably has resigned. But through his interview, he's mentioned something along the lines of how Liberia does not have the funds to carry out this court. So my question to the president is, how are we going to do this thing? How are we going to put this roadmap down? How are we going to make this War Economic and Crime Court a success? Because we truly need this. The Liberian people need this. Without this, we cannot move forward. There will still be people that are going to be benefiting from us that have hurt us the most, and we will just keep going on, and that sword will be on our foot. We will not address it. It will get big. And if, God forbid, if there was any civil unrest, those people have the resources to put ammunitions and weapons in other people's hands as well, too, to stand a chance to benefit again. So we have to show people that it is not a good thing for them to put ammunitions in people's hands. And we have to establish this court. But like I said, the court has no money, and the government has no money. And I'm trying to understand, if they did come up with the money, if it's through aid, what is it that we're giving up? And if we cuff up this money from our budget, where are we taking that additional extra funds from? Is it going to be from the lawmaker's salary that say that they care about us, they're trying to make the laws? I will hope that it's from their salary, but knowing them, that stuff it won't happen. They're not willing to cut their salary down.
Thank you.
My point. Yeah.
Thank you. So, Pastor Salif, I'll come to you. Same question, maybe in a different way too now. When you look at the history of Liberia, there's been troubles since the beginning, right? Since the beginning of what you call the foundation. I don't believe with this, 1822 theory, because when you look at Liberia was always there before 1822. It wasn't called Liberia, but people were there before 1822. So, if you will, this country is the conglomeration of people who were there from after the fall of the Sudanic empires, right? The empires from Mali and so on and so forth. And our brothers and sisters came, right, from the United States. People came from Barbados. People came from, the Caribbeans, I should say, and different points. And even after that period, people kept coming. So obviously, when you have that melting pot, that meeting point, there's bound to be conflict, and there were conflicts. Before they started living together, before they started coexisting, there were conflicts. There were conflicts in Maryland County. Where J.J. Roberts was deployed to put down rebellion from the Gribble people. There were conflicts in Sino County where, troops were deployed to put down the Crew rebellion. And these military interventions were brutal. So when you look at all of those events, so before you look at 1980, you have to look at the antecedent events. So there's a lot of hurt in this one country already. And so one visit is not going to cut it, right? I mean, one visit here, another visit to this president. What about the rest of the country in between? You're muted.
Sorry, that's an interesting point, you've cited, and that there's one more we also have to interject into that, and that has to do with Matilda Nippon. when we celebrate Thanksgiving in Liberia, normally I don't celebrate Thanksgiving in Liberia because I think it's a travesty of justice, because the historicity of Thanksgiving in Liberia came from Matilda Newport when the settlers, the men were out of the colony and the natives kind of tried to ransack. That is the history. We don't know if they went to ask for food or if they went to do anything nefarious, but we know they came. And there were no men, and the cannon was there. And Matilda Newport, from the history we got, told them to stand in front of the cannon, took her pipe, took the fire, put it there, and blast all those people in pieces. We celebrate that as Thanksgiving for God saving the colony. We even name a street in honor of Matilda Newport, Newport Street. And we celebrate those, and we should celebrate Thanksgiving for murdering the native Liberians that they met there. You know, so there's so many things. And then that's why I hate selective outrage, because as bad as it was, those 13 people Samuel Doe murdered, nobody talks about the amount of native Liberians those 17 people also murdered before they took over power.
Wait a second. Wait, let me ask you right there. You said these 13 people also murder people? You have
their ancestors. Their ancestors.
You have evidence of this?
I said their ancestors.
Okay, all right.
When the settlers came, they murdered native Liberians too.
The sins of their ancestors.
Exactly. Okay. So we're only looking at what happened 1980. We're not looking at what happened before 1980, just like you properly set the scene. So I want to commend JMB. What JMB has done by giving Samuel Doe a befitting burial is 100% commendable.
So you and Elvis agreed. You're Elvis' friend now.
Oh no, Elvis is my man. We know the show can be hard sometimes. Elvis always on my side. Today is just different. Elvis and me, we always agree. Today just different.
Y'all live around the same state. I think y'all live in the same state. I don't know.
Yeah. So that is why George Weah should have done, who pretended that Samuel Doe was his father. He should have done that. But JMB did it. He did it for Talbot. It shouldn't end there. This is what I think we should do. We need a national monument, because we cannot do everything case by case. There's so many people that lost their lives. Just the war alone, we're talking about 250,000 people, over 250,000 people. We can't go family by family to bury each dead. But JMB can also create a national memorial, a national monument to commemorate, like we had the unknown soldier in front of the executive mansion. We can have a national monument to commemorate all the innocent lives that have been lost from 1822 up to present, and say, okay, we can't go family by family, but at least we erect this monument so that we can know that we don't want to go back to the past. So JMB is on the right track. I commend him for that. When he does well, I will always praise him. When he doesn't do well, I will say it, and I've been very consistent in my approbations on this show of JMB, but also I have been consistent in my criticism of JMB. So it should not end there. We need a national memorial.
Thank you.
To commemorate all our
Thank you. Dr. Pearson. So in 1980, a group of guys, got up one morning, and that's really not, that doesn't tell the full story, right? But the full story is shrouded in some kind of mystery, right? But anyway, the group of guys get up and they shoot into the executive mansion. They murder the president. 10 days later, despite pleas from other African leaders in the region, 13 men were, murdered by firing squad. They weren't given due process. There was a kangaroo court. Okay, and Liberians celebrated this. They jubilated in the street. Liberians have not, I don't know if we understand what that meant. So that's a sin in itself to me, that you're out here jubilating the murder of people and saying that you're free. And you were never free after. You were never free. You never got free after that. See, God is watching us.
Mr. Salib, you're the host. Don't.
I'm accidental host. accidental host. Keep in mind,
Mr. John did it on purpose. He brought us all together so he can leave us. Bro, you're not
Dennis
sitting there with
drop,
people there.
Dennis drop accidental host, and this host right here, I'm like, I'm like my man Anthony C. Me and my man Anthony C. We are the most opinionated hosts. Okay,
Right.
okay. So that was a sin. We have to be ashamed of ourselves for those who participated in that kind of display of whatever Britain brutality. It's not right. So tell me what do you think? What's your conception of reconciliation? How can it be achieved without justice? You think this is going to cut it? You know, visiting one or two people out here, or as you know, other speakers said, this is a good beginning.
No, I don't think it's a good beginning either. And I'll tell you why. I wouldn't pretend like our history is not complex. Our history is very complex. Besides that, a conflict is also a very complex situation. Then you look at the social dynamics of every society. There will be sides where we speak about diversity and individuality. So obviously, there will be people who feel that they are of one group than the other. Whether you're talking about the Freemasons in Liberia, or you're talking about the people who consider themselves the natives, country people, and then who consider themselves the Congo people. So there will be these social divides. There are also the class system, the rich and the haves and the haves not. So these dynamics will play. How we address the conflict that comes out of our different social divide, for me, is the major concern. Because when I look, like you mentioned, when I look at how our people who felt that they were being marginalized by the African Americans, and you said they took matters into their own hands, the way the approach they took to address the problem was even more conflicting, like you mentioned, right? People were given tribunal without proper due process and were murdered. Whether they were significantly responsible for the crimes they allegedly accused them of, or they were trying to serve the country as a patriotic person who was given a call to duty, right? But because they were affiliated with some group of individuals who had hung on to power for over 120 years, they all were considered to be people who carry on rampant corruption and exploited the people of opportunities. Fast forward, there's a repeat of the same situation. We came and we murdered people, and in the process, killing over 250,000 plus people with the same by approach. All right. Now, for me, this is someone who's read peace and conflict studies at the master's level and graduated as the first group of students from the University of Liberia peace study program at the master's level. This is what I see. I see when I look at our conflict in retrospect, I see that our approach usually is the problem. We left the war, and I'm not saying it's easy to solve to end a war, but we awarded the perpetrators with power and with wealth. So to correct that mistake is a problem. So you can identify all of them who committed the crime, but you cannot punish them because they cannot punish themselves. Example: Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Prince Johnson, George Bode, Alaji G.V. Nkrumah, and all of the other guys you can think about. So they are the richest people in our country and have been sitting over power and wealth. Now, President Boakai comes in. Look at President Boakai's history. President Boakai served under President Doe, right? President Boakai is Doe's friend. He said it plain and blank. He said he admired Doe. Doe was his friend. He was young and he saw Doe and he worked with Doe. So now President Boakai feels obligated to give Doe a decent burial when Doe does not even have a body to bury. But at the same time, I lost my father in the war. I cannot find my father's body. I do not know where my brother who I lost in the war, I cannot even find his body. I have not buried him yet, and I have not gotten to that closure myself. So how can President Boakai begin to bury the nowhere body to be found, one of the perpetrators of our conflict, when the victims cannot even find their own loved ones' body. Am I saying it is a wrong thing for President Boakai to identify with his long-time friends? No, he can identify with long-time friends, but it can be on a personal level. But I have seen and quite clearly that we've not addressed the core causes of the core cause of our war. We've not even written the history right. President Boakai writing Gazette for warlords who've died and people who committed mayhem and glorifying them in the Gazette, and which is becoming part of our history. And those histories are wrong, like Pastor Salih Regda put it. Mantida Nimpo is in history, but for the wrong reasons. And then we gave her a holiday to celebrate her. President Boakai gave President a whole day to parade an empty casket in Monrovia with public money when the victims were supposed to stay along the road and clap for the perpetrator. Is that something we should worship and say it's a good start? For me, it's not a good start. And it's the regular general memorial service that was held for the plebeians. It was just a general service for the plebeians. I was in Liberia in April, this gone April. I never heard about that service, even though they said they were announcing it. I never heard jingles about it. I never heard community-based discussion about it. I never heard county-level discussion about it. I never heard that churches should be. I got 3 churches in Liberia. No church was communicating to be open on this day for us to observe this sacred movement. None of us were contacted about this. No city hall across the country were open to celebrate this. No town hall was open to commemorate that memorial. The same privileged individual went to a later town hall, gathered themselves, had a service, drank and ate food afterwards, and said they reconciled the country. Is that reconciliation for me? I said no. No. So I close by saying this, Mr. Sherry.
Look, come on, man. The time.
I close by saying this. I see the motive, I see the intention, but I think the approach is wrong. Like we did the Access Declaration approach. I think the approach is wrong. Like we saw other approaches that we try to get accomplished, and at the end of the day, it amounts to nothing. I think there's a better way we can do this that will make it more inclusive of the entire country and to ensure that everybody's hands are on the board to have closure at the same level. So that Chastity will not have a memorial at the Lutheran Church right now in Cinco when other family members who died there don't have memorial at that very site. Chastity has a memorial right there right now if you went there for one of the family members.
Charles still has a memorial at the Lutheran Church.
Chastity family has a memorial at the Lutheran Church compound right now in Cinco where scores of ordinary Liberians died and there's no memorial for them there.
Oh, wow.
I'm telling you.
That's strange.
Let me come in here quickly, Mr. Sherry. You've been keeping me on the sideline for too long.
Yeah.
And this is an issue that's dear to me. And I think Mr. Dr. Pearson just offended me because I listened keenly to what he said. You know, believe it or not, you know, Dr. Pearson, we're somehow related. You know, your first cousin is married to my auntie. You know, my auntie from one mom, one pa, her sister is my mother. So what I'm going to tell you is that I heard everything that you said. Samuel Doe didn't deserve to be paraded through the street because he killed people. You know, Alhaji Kuma, all the other people in the Union, all the native people, they didn't deserve to get power. But you refuse to, you fail to realize that the people who were removed from power, they too were abusing the people that were ruling over. So this whole thing that you're trying to pour all the blame on the quote-unquote native people is offensive. That's why reconciliation is needed, because people like you know, when you come and give the history and you try to give the context, you want to point the finger to the native people and make it seem like they were the terrible ones. They were the ones that committed all the crimes. People who, like the Dennises, the Chessons, those people who benefited. No, please. I didn't interrupt him, Mr. Sharif. Don't let him interrupt me. Don't let him interrupt me. Those people who benefited generationally from the abuse of the Liberian people who are in power, you got nothing bad to say about them. The John T. Richardson, who are with Charles Taylor, who brought the war in Liberia, who benefited from Charles Taylor, he a Congo man. You ain't say nothing about him. But only the other native people you know how to call the name. The Congo people, they hate him. They own a name. You can't call it. The reality is President Boakai did the right thing. He's trying to reconcile. Should Toba get a memorial? I say, hell no. Hell no, he shouldn't get no damn memorial. When he sent the troops out there and kill people during the riot, why should he get a memorial? Why should he get a memorial? He shouldn't get a damn memorial. You talking about Samuel Doe. You didn't mention Toba. Did you mention Toba that people die on his watch? Did you mention it?
Don't make me moderate you.
No, what do you mean moderate me? You ought to moderate me. Don't tell me that. Don't make me moderate you. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Don't tell me don't make me more than rich. What's wrong with you, man? The fact there is, when you're talking about people, you got to be fair. This is the same native Congo thing that we don't want to bring on the platform. Some of us who try to be measured, but we see your bias. We see your bias. You mention all the other native people. You don't mention the Congo people. Who is talking to get a memorial overdose? You talk about get a memorial overdose? Did you mention that people were parading here in the street too? Should the people that died doing the rights right? Should they have a problem with him being paraded through the street? Of course. So don't talk outside of one side of your mouth. Other people here too got mouth to speak. You come in, you're trying to make it seem like the native people do all the wrong, and Joe shouldn't get a memorial because he killed people. Tell about to kill people. You know that? Don't you know that? Don't you know that we're beating people in info stocking?
Elvis, what's your solution?
Don't you know that we're belittling the natives? Don't you know that?
Elvis, what's your solution?
My solution is people shouldn't be hypocrite. If they want reconciliation, they have to speak on both sides of the issue. If you come on the platform and you're trying to act too smart, trying to put all the native names out there, but then you leave the other people aside and act like they didn't commit atrocity to the Liberian people, that's disingenuous. Don't do that. We're not stupid on the platform when we say it and talking to you. Don't do that. I personally don't think Samuel Doe deserves any recognition. He was a dictator. He was a despot, and he was a terrible person. But I can say that with my bold chest and tell you that those guys who died on the portal don't deserve no damn memorial either. They ill-treated the Liberian people. Tolbert was there threatening people with death, that he was going to kill them when he left the country. People in post stockade sitting down there getting flogged every day. You think he's some kind of good man that deserves a memorial? Hell no.
Elvis,
So if you want to talk on both sides.
Thank you.
I don't want to hear that.
On this platform.
Thank you.
What do you mean I can't sit on the platform? Why can't I say that?
Elvis,
Why can't I sit on the platform? Why you can tell me that Samuel Doe kill people?
Elvis.
I can't tell you that Tolbert kill people. Why I can't say that? What's wrong with you?
Elvis, your time is up.
Don't tell me I can't sit on the platform. What's wrong with this guy?
Dr. Pearson, you have a minute.
Look, you see, Elvis, I'm not sure why you sentimental about. I know you're from Grand Judah. Am I correct?
Yeah, I'm from Grand Judah. Ain't from Maryland.
Dr. Pearson, it's not a
okay then.
No.
You don't make it travel, make it travel.
I'm laying the basis here.
Okay.
So I did start off by saying that Liberia has a complex history. I did start off by saying that Liberia has that conflict is complex. I did mention that there are complications in our past that we have to address, and we've missed out on the approaches to addressing them. I didn't shy away from them.
No, you enumerated all the native on part of here. You didn't go to the Congo on side.
Elvis, there's nowhere there's written here that Tolbert killed 250,000 people. Topman killed 250,000 people. There's nowhere that's written there.
That one person killed 250,000 people.
Elvis.
That Samuel Doe killed 250,000 people.
Elvis, you may have sentimental feelings about being attached.
You have the sentimental, but you're trying to hide it. You angry at people that are not in power anymore. You don't got a hegemony in the country. Don't tell me say I have sentimental issues. You got to see sentimental issues.
Elvis, it got nothing to do with that.
Okay, all right, my man.
My passion for the discussion about reconciliation in Liberia, because I lost my father, I lost my brother. I do not know where they are buried. And the people who are responsible for that particular period of my history, I should be held accountable for what they did. So I got legitimate reasons.
I lost the two crew chiefs inside the country. They should be held accountable too. And they were held accountable on that poll. So don't tell me nonsense about your family. Other people lost their people too. We lost great men from the crew side of Liberia. What you telling me? Your family life is the only one that matters?
Elvis, did you lose anyone in the war? Did you lose your parents?
Of course. I lost people. People close to me were raped during the war. What are you telling me? You one suffer? You're entered. You're entered with my family. You're entered more piercing with my family during the war time. Do you know that?
Did you lose any of your parents in the war?
Of course. I lost entered during the war. What are you talking about?
Did you lose any of your parents in the war?
Losing parent, losing entered, losing sister. You can't try to quantify it because you lost your brother or somebody. Your grief is more important than other people. Don't do that, man. Yeah, my man, don't do that. We try to be cautious on this platform, but when you try to be disrespectful to other people, then myself, I will talk to you that kind of way. Don't do that, man.
Gentlemen, we have to. I'm sorry, we have to end right here. Thank you so much. We have to end right here. This is a conversation that that needs to be had, but at the same time, we have to do this with a level of civility and respect for one another. So thank you all for your time.
Yeah.
We will go around the room for 30 seconds because we have to finish at the 2-hour mark if we can do that. I know we are Liberians, we don't stop talking. So 30 seconds each.
Okay, let me go first.
Okay.
The back and forth tonight, it proves that there are things to reconcile.
Yes.
And to reconcile these things, what happened has to be acknowledged, and when wrongdoing has to be identified, and both sides come to realize that there were things done wrong on both sides, and that to move forward, we have to identify that certain wrong things should not be repeated. And that's what we're supposed to be looking at. Other countries have fought through things, and instead of saying you were wrong or I were wrong, there were wrong things done, and we don't want these things to repeat it. Then you move ahead.
Thank you, Jimmy.
So I think it identifies what is necessary for us to do. Yeah.
Thank you. Pastor S.T. Sirleaf, 30 seconds.
Thank you. You can see the discussion, and I don't think it's fair to the listeners that when it's called Friday Night Debate, now when the debate get heated, then we should just end it because we don't want it to digress. I understand that the need for civility, but the need of closure is more important than the need for civility. We can experience the civility, and then people live with still and not being settled. So we got to solve that problem. But I will conclude this way. Number one, when presidents all gather together in the room, they are all called presidents. It doesn't matter whether you are the president of the most powerful country and I'm the president of the poorest country. We are all presidents, so we are co-equal. So nobody should be like a subservient to another person. So when my president gets in the room with other world leaders, they are all world leaders. They are all equivalent. So for my president to be there bowing to another president, calling him yes sir, I think it was demeaning, and I will say it over and over. But when it comes to reconciliation, and this is my caution, there's no way from what we just saw here right now, we cannot approach the Liberian reconciliation on an individual basis. The reason we did Doe and Toba, because they were president, they are at that level. You know, when Kobe Bryant died in the plane crash, I was at work. The white people ran to me. They were mad. Why the whole media everywhere is Kobe Bryant? Do you know there were some white people on the flight? I said those white people on the flight, were they as important as Kobe Bryant? So Kobe Bryant name took the whole airway, but there were other people that died with him. This is human. You know, Doe and Toba, they were presidents. So if they were buried separately, it doesn't mean we can go individual case by case basis. Let's build a national memorial, because if we go individually, then nobody deserves to be recognized, because I'm a native born. I'm not going to recognize native people who murdered my people, who subjugated us, who made us. We could not go to the same school with their children. The only time we had opportunities, we had to take their names to go to the same school their children went to. That was a soft apartheid that was in Liberia. So I would say they should not be honored. The American Liberian will say, oh, because of what happened to the 13 people, they should not be honored. So we cannot go individual business. Let's build a national monument and let us put the past behind us.
That's a great point. Dr. Pearson.
Thank you for the show tonight, and thanks to our listeners out there and my fellow panelists. Now, I think when we come on the show, we can be civil in our disagreement, and I don't think anyone should be insulting another panelist or showing aggression because you feel your points are not getting through. And I would say this: I think Liberia missed an opportunity when it comes to the conference, the business conference that was held in Southern Africa, where African leaders, at least 12 of them, made that trip, and they left from there with something to take back home to the country. And we focused on coming to America like Eddie Murphy and yell from the street corner, I have a good English, and you come back home and people celebrate you. I mean, that didn't do anything for us. Like Glennie said, I hope that we have time to show that something came out of that. But I think looking at the guys we have from Unity Party, if anything good came out of there, it would have been announced even before it got cold from the fire. And last but not the least, when it comes to reconciliation, I think it is wrong, absolutely wrong, to begin with the perpetrators. trying to find closure for the country. You must begin with the people who are the victims. And the victims should be inclusive in the process of reconciliation and healing. You cannot begin with the perpetrators that we did with the peace process, with the warlords, and the came to become the powerful people and the most wealthy in our country today.
Thank you, Doc. Elvis.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shirley. Let me tell you this, right? My grandfather and grandjita, not my human grandfather, my great grandfather, they used to sit him in the sun and make him look at his son for not paying her tax. They used to do that to him. There's anger in that country. There's palpable anger in Liberia from a specific part of the country, maybe. Maybe from my region of the country. We're fighters. We're not people that are going to be subjugated on anybody. We'd rather die than to be slave or to be subjugated to anybody. Now that we are somewhat civilized, we look back in hindsight and say, yeah, you shouldn't have killed those people. It was the wrong thing to do. That's what a civilized person would say. But when you tell people that why you killed the 72 chief, oh, they were being rebellion, they were doing uprisings, that we had to kill them. That the civilized people telling us that.
Civilized mean?
No, civilized is that you should use common decency and morality and try to make just decisions rather than just killing people like what Samuel Doe did. I think it was uncivilized to kill those people. What I'm saying here is that be sensitive to the feelings of other people. You're a doctor, you're a PhD holder, I respect you. But people know me on this platform. I speak freely, I have no fear of anybody. I'm very respectful of people who are respectful to me. Me and Mr. Eastman, I've never had any conflict on the panel. You show me respect, I show him respect in the same vein. But when you're talking to a native person, a crime man from Grand Juda County, don't try to belittle me, telling me you will moderate me. What do you mean by that? I'm a grown man. I may be young, but I'm in my mid-30s. I'm not a child.
Thank you.
So don't disrespect me. We can be respectful to each other, but don't disrespect me. Thank you for the show.
Thank you. Brother Russell.
So it's a rough night.
You're just taking all this in. The young man.
Friday night debate, Anthony.
It's a rough night. Maybe myself, I was trying to get into some trouble. But I will say that as Liberians, we have to seek trade amongst our within our our African region. We have to stop going far away, trying to look for means, knowing the history that we have with a country like America, and the exploitation. I'm not saying that other African countries are not going to come and exploit us, but there are ways in which we can look for partnerships, right, where we can get on the level of people that are on our level to try to do mutual trade with them. Us going to America and begging for a survey would not be the same thing as us going to, let's say, Angola and looking for a company out there that does a survey, right? So we have to understand that if we go to America and beg for a survey, that means that we're giving up something. Nothing is free. That's what I want for our people to understand. Nothing is free. And lastly, about the issue with the World Economic and Crime Court, I've already given my point of view on this. I think that if it's left with me, we really have to be very, very clear and transparent and honest with ourselves. Liberians, I don't feel like we are ready to forgive and forget. We're not ready to actually put all the everybody's dirty laundry on the table yet, because when we bring up certain issues, other people will not acknowledge that. They will go ahead and say, but what about this? Someone telling their true feelings and emotions of how the war makes them feel should not be a point for you to counter that person's emotions to say, well, what about this? And the same thing as well too. You should not be able to say some things one-sided, knowing that it is going to bring up bad blood between you and someone as well too. When Liberians are ready to put their cards down, their dirty laundry is on the table, then we can be able to reconcile. But as far as I'm concerned, we can have all the theatrics. What I mean by theatrics, we can go and bury this other person. We can bury anybody that we lost in the government, right? We can give them a state funeral. It's not going to change anything. The real change comes from within here, and we're not ready to start that here. All of that is just a bluff. We will come back 20 years from now, and we will still be having the same conversation about what happened during the war, who brought this, what happened, and is not going to lead us anywhere. But my advice to the young people is that we should learn from our history. We should know that history is how we can determine our future. Right, a lot of our people don't know our history. They don't understand it. They don't know what happened, so they're walking around like headless chicken, hoping that we can change out of anywhere or we can change out of nowhere. Changes actually starts with us, and we should start to implement that in our daily lives. I rest my case, and it's a pleasure being on here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You spoke well. Everyone spoke well.
You spoke like JMB.
Yes, sir.
And finally, all these things that we've had, and the leaders, some of the leaders that took over, they benefited. They and their families benefited. So this is not like a tribal issue. It shouldn't be, at least, because we know that some of these leaders that took over, it wasn't even their tribes that benefited. They themselves, they and the few group of cronies around them. We know that. I mean, 1980, who benefited besides, Doe and his immediate surroundings? I mean, there were people in his own county that, were victims.
He killed Nelson Toll from Tolltown, Grand Julia County. He killed Thomas Whitesing, a Sapo man from Sino County. He killed his own people.
Hold on a second. So when these things happen, and then when the war came, people say, we came to liberate you guys. And then what ended up happening is more division. Okay, and then I always talk about this. You go to William V.S. Tubman today. Tubman birthday is a holiday, and Liberians are celebrating him all over the place. But when Tobo Kim tried to make a reform, reform that whole system that Tubman left behind, Liberians said he was too mean. Oh, he's stealing our money. He's doing this and that and the other, and they murder him. That is the reality, and Liberians have to come to grips with this. People have to go to church more. People have to go to the various. People have their sins. There's a lot of sins in that country. So I don't care what anyone says. There's a lot of hurt. People are hurting. This debate right here is a glimpse of what is out there on the national level. And one of the things I think our leaders can do when you're working this reconciliation, you should work for equality as well, economic equality, social equality, so that when people have jobs, when people see themselves as part of the national economy, as part of the nation, then maybe some of this hurt, people will be able to see themselves as part of the country. But as it is, as divisive as we are, you have a class of very wealthy people and a class of very poor people, very wealthy people. Who are they? I always say this, when you killed the 13, when you killed Tolbert, what ended up happening again? Look, who's leaving behind? Who has all these muddy roads now? It's not the 13. Who's running the country? It's not Tolbert anymore. Who's running the Supreme Court? Who's running the judiciary? Who's running the House of the legislature right now? It's not these other guys anymore. So it's the natives now who, when they sang the other time, this other person born rogue or whatever, we have to look at ourselves as well. So let's be honest with ourselves and have a frank discussion about this. That's where I want to leave this. I want to thank you all so much. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, everybody. Pastor Saliv, Brother Russell, Elvis, Dr. Pearson. Thank you. We want to close on this note. We are all Liberians.
The people.
We are Liberians.